Hola, my name is Ed Cabrera. I serve as the Vice President of the League of Women Voters of San Luis Obispo County. Thank you for joining us for this recap of the last 12 months. I have a love-hate relationship with this duty of presenting our year in review. I relish the opportunity to celebrate all the impactful work that our members do throughout the year, but it seems that we pack more and more worthwhile activities into a calendar every year. So it's become quite the challenge to create a relatively compact retelling of our past 12 months. But it never fails to impress me all that this group does to keep a vibrant democracy alive in our county. Since this presentation deals so much about the fulfilling work that our membership provides, it is only fitting that we begin by marking the passing of two stalwart members. Wilda Razine became a member of the League in 2017 and immediately volunteered to join the 19th Amendment Centennial Celebration Committee. As a retired businesswoman, it seemed that Wilda knew everyone in SLO County, and without her contacts, many of the events would have been less of a success. At the 2020 culminating celebration luncheon, Wilda used her SLO rep connection to provide the appearance of Carrie Chapman Catt, a suffrage leader instrumental in the passage of the 19th Amendment. In 2021, Wilda again volunteered for the League's 60th Anniversary Committee, and last year she was instrumental in making our SLO Rep fundraiser come to life. She was a force of nature when something needed to be accomplished, and had she lived at the time women were fighting for the right to vote, no doubt she would have been actively involved in the work needed to pass the 19th Amendment. We also lost Mary Bianchi recently. Mary had served in a number of positions for our league. First, she occupied the pivotal position of secretary, which she used her no-nonsense discipline developed from her farm upbringing. Then she occupied another leadership position as membership chair, where she used her rural roots to make all that joined welcome. Of late, she offered her sage, plain-talking advice to the board, first as the general director, and finally for 3 terms on our nominating committee. She will be missed for her steadfast friendship, her dry sense of humor, and her unwavering loyalty to the League. In our roundup of committee activities, let's begin with voter services. 120 volunteers participated in our League's 39 election-related activities, amounting to almost 2,000 volunteer hours. This included over 40 volunteers who served as poll workers in both the primary and general elections. We organized 7 candidate forums, 14 pros and cons presentation, and appeared on local radio shows and were interviewed in multiple newspaper articles. We managed to visit almost all the county high schools and registered almost 1,000 new voters. Voter registration started off with a bang at Cuesta College this past fall, when League volunteers Chris Payne, Lisa Lewis, Susan Boatman, Bill Coleman, and Julie Rodewald greeted students at both Cuesta campuses with the question, "Are you registered to vote?" The teams visited the community college campuses in August, September, and October. The committee dedicated to organizing candidate forums successfully conducted yet another intense round of forums for the 2024 general election on November 5th. Chaired by Shelley Higginbotham, the Candidates Forums Committee organized 7 forums at various venues throughout the county. Altogether, 33 League members served as moderators, timers, question sorters, and greeter runners. Considered the gold standard in organizing professionally run, nonpartisan events, the League of Women Voters is sought out by community groups to showcase local candidates and have them respond directly to questions from their constituents. The League works together with sponsoring groups such as local chambers of commerce to enable communities to hear from their candidates in an organized but unscripted way. Shelley credits the success of the forums to a veteran group of volunteers who make the process much easier. She added that she was especially heartened by the large number of new faces who joined the team for the latest round of forums. Finally, it should be noted that there were no disturbances or interruptions in the forums this year. The candidates were, to a person, civil and respectful to each other and to the audiences, while those in attendance were both attentive and appreciative of the opportunity to meet and hear from their candidates. More than 45 league members and friends joined the league's Adopt the Poll efforts to staff our assigned precincts on Election Day. Even more league members signed up to serve on their own or with other organizations. Most importantly, we fulfilled our goal to staff a precinct in the North County, with AAUW members helping to fulfill our precinct worker openings and staffing another precinct. We expanded our Adopt a Poll services to the voters of Atascadero. A special thank you to Lee Livick for recruiting AAUW members to serve in the league's precinct in Atascadero. This precinct gives us a total of 5 as it joins the 2 in San Luis Obispo and single precincts in the South County and the coast. Thanks to Patty Dale, Janet George, and Julie Rodewald for again serving as inspectors, and a special nod to first-time inspectors Joanne Schultz and Jordan Blaquera. It should be noted that these members shouldered intense duties and responsibilities from 6 a.m. until 10 p.m. on Election Day. A well-deserved thank you not only to our league members who served on Election Day, but to all poll workers who commit to make voting accessible and welcoming to all eligible voters. Special thanks also to the voters who turned out Election Day and to celebrate this exercise in democracy. One big takeaway were the new I Voted stickers. They were a big hit with voters. These were designed by local students who were winners of a county-wide contest to come up with a Central Coast flavor. Vote for 11 is a nonpartisan website sponsored by the League of Women Voters Education Fund. Committee members of our Voter Information Committee continue to contact candidates to encourage them to take part in this important voter resource and monitor and approve the candidates' postings. They also identify opportunities to publicize this important resource wherever and whenever they can. Challenged by daunting 10 propositions on the November ballot, the Pros and Cons Committee undertook an ambitious schedule of presentations to a variety of organizations in the month of October. The presentations educated voters on the origins and makeup of the proposition, including the issues and situations that gave rise to the proposed laws, the details of the legislation, and the resulting fiscal impacts. In addition, attendees heard the arguments for and against passage, along with the identification of groups supporting and opposing the proposals. Finally, the presenters spotlighted the monies raised by supporters and opponents of the measures. Our committee made presentations at 14 separate venues. The hosting groups were appreciative of the League's efforts to provide clarity to the sometimes overwhelming amount of information provided in their voter handbooks. The gatherings were well attended and always featured numerous questions from the attendees. A video was produced by the committee's members. The hour-long video offered a more formal and in-depth look at the propositions and was uploaded to our website and was available to the community. Presenters on the video were Nancy Clark, Maureen Cormier, Sharon Ripner, Mary Beth Starzell, Joe Guslick, shown on this slide, Alex Carlin, Diane Matthews, and Marilee and Tony Hyman. In partnership with the County Clerk Recorder's Office, teams of League members visited local high schools this fall in support of a registration competition amongst the county's high schools. As in the past, the League presented students with information about the history of voting, nonpartisan voter resources, and the importance of one's vote. For the first time, we encourage students to register to vote online and to participate as poll workers in the upcoming election. School visits took place at SLO High, Napomo, Paso Robles, and Morro Bay High Schools, as well as the Grizzly Academy. Teams also visited Lopez, Mission Prep, Pacific Beach, New Tech, and Templeton High Schools. The goal of the County Clerk Recorder's competition, which is to register or pre-register every student 16 years of age or older in the county. Morro Bay High School was the winning school in the inaugural competition. County Clerk Recorder Elena Cano was on hand along with member Julianne McAdam to make the cash award presentation. The Latino Voter Engagement Project was a new collaboration that the League entered with Cal Poly Communication Studies and the SLOCO County Clerk Recorder's Office, as well as other community groups. Its goal is to increase Latino voter engagement and access to civic services by providing critical information and necessary resources on voting rights and other civic services, and bridging the gap between the SLOCO County Clerk Recorder's Office and the Latino community. Alondra Cardosa introduced the effort to League members at our barbecue at Cuesta Park this past year. Faculty members Victoria Zamora and Marion Winrow Hart and student interns have begun work with Julie Rodewald and Voter Services to get this project underway. Speaking of Julie, a special heartfelt thanks goes out to her as she is retiring as chair for Voter Services, an all-encompassing job. Her passion for all efforts related to voting and her unmatched knowledge of this all-important American institution was recognized recently by Congressman Salud Carvajal when he named her as one of the 5 recipients of the Central Coast Women of the Year Award. Julie will be missed deeply. The Civil Discourse Committee, reorganized in May 2023, with Ann Quinn and Jean Burns-Slater as co-chairs of this committee. The committee is based on the foundation set by Sharon Kimball, along with others who started a committee on the study of civil discourse a number of years ago. In the past year, public forums on civil discourse were presented throughout the county. The forums were designed to be in person with the topics such as get your message to decision makers, participation and presentation techniques at public meetings, speaking and listening skills, and distinguish fact from fiction. Presenters were Jean Burns-Slater, Jen Grayson, Nita Kenyon, Ann Quinn, Deborah Fielskowski, and Kate Christensen. After each topic presentation, breakout groups discussed the topic and how it could influence their communication skills. These forums were presented in Napomo, San Luis Obispo, Morro Bay, and Atascadero. The Civil Discourse Committee also trained people via Zoom webinar on information booth strategies, how to diffuse tense situations in preparing volunteers to serve at a booth at the Mid-State Fair. 27 participants joined the Zoom presentation. Last month, the Civil Discourse Committee hosted lunch with the League with the following topic: getting to decision makers, make your voice heard, deploying the same content presentation of the 4 forums. In a historic moment for our local league in July, the Civil Discourse Committee will be presenting this same topic as a workshop at the State League of Women Voters Convention. The session has already attracted considerable attention from other chapters. Congratulations to the committee on your statewide recognition for your groundbreaking efforts. The Social Policy Committee, chaired by Glenn Silloway, chose to focus on housing and homelessness. These 2 areas are inseparable and indicate the complexity of the social issues involved. This focus further accents the priorities chosen by our chapter this year in a program planning session. Members have visited local homeless service providers' facilities to learn about how our most effective providers are doing their work. This group visited 2 sites in Grover Beach, where 5 Cities Homeless Coalition has installed tiny home campuses, within which it also provides individual services. The committee created educational events online, such as these well-attended webinars on housing affordability and the social housing model. In addition, they shared info and wrote articles for the voter about these issues while advocating for policies that help. Their housing and homelessness committees met monthly to hear timely subjects from speakers such as Ann Wyatt on housing options, Alex Carlin on Supreme Court decisions affecting the homeless, Jessica Goswick on strong towns, and Sherry Aronson on Cal Poly's Design Vision Project. This committee recently started a joint educational project with the Cal Poly Department of City and Regional Planning. In a learn-by-doing process called a studio, the students will create a vision for the future development of the Monterey Corridor in San Luis Obispo, in an area from Santa Rosa out to Highway 101. We share a map of the area in this slide. The League's interest is to promote the inclusion of affordable housing in this mixed-use area, with an emphasis on making the housing developments compatible with neighborhood shape and culture. Carefully designed projects like this can help improve quality of life for people at all income levels. Proposition 1, or the Behavioral Health Services Act, was approved by California voters in an exceedingly close vote in November of 2024. The committee organized a closer look at the local impact of this measure in a popular webinar this month. More recently, the committee toured the Capslo facility at 40 Prado Road, where they heard from its leaders about the program and services, and they met the people who live and work there. Prado is a 365 days per year facility that helps individuals and families improve their health and stability and move them towards self-sufficiency. Services not only include an overnight shelter complete with meals, they also include primary medical care and access to case management. The League will be planning additional tours of the facility for interested members in the near future. After an intense election season, League members paused to celebrate another fulfilling year with their annual holiday party. This year, the chosen venue was the Farmhouse Lounge near the airport. The locale freed members from the numerous duties required to organize such an event. With no need to organize and decorate, it was only left to enjoy the season and the company of the quality people that make up our membership. We joined the San Luis Obispo Chamber of Commerce this year in a move to make more community connections. Members of our executive board and past president Cindy Marie Absey attended the annual chamber dinner in January, along with nearly 600 of the city's glitterati, where Mary Verdon was announced as the 2024 Citizen of the Year. Our league becomes one of the 1,400 entities in the chamber. Also in January, 46 league members and guests met at the United Methodist Church to discuss their priorities for local league education and advocacy for the next 2 years. This day, devoted to program planning, had 2 breakout sessions led by 8 discussion leaders. Members reached consensus on 4 main issues for local league focus and brainstorm strategies to achieve our goals. Several themes reoccurred in all the issues we discussed, and in addition, ideas were presented for how we could support the state and national initiative Making Democracy Work. In summary, the priority issues that emerged from our discussion were civic education and information literacy. We see the need for more educational programs on how government works, the importance of voting and civic involvement, and how to tell fact from fiction. Housing homelessness. This is a continuation of our current efforts to educate on how the broken housing market impacts our entire community. Environmental stewardship and climate resiliency. Members want us to continue to monitor and report on the local impacts of climate change, support clean energy efforts, and advocate for sound management of resources. And finally, immigration and civil rights. Members want us to work with other organizations to educate on immigrant rights, citizenship, and civil liberties. The Policy Committee, chaired by Leslie Brown, is one of our newer committees, having only come together a couple of years ago. Their focus areas include redistricting, campaign finance laws, election laws, and public access to and transparency of government meetings. The Government Policy Committee is also currently organizing groups of observers to monitor and attend public meetings from the Board of Supervisors to City Councils to CSDs to see how they operate and identify issues that the League should be following in line with our League government positions and program priorities. Leslie Brown appeared before the Board of Supervisors to deliver a spirited defense of the Dominion voting systems contract and a firm vote of confidence for our county's elections office staff. The group led the efforts to follow Senate Bill 977 to establish an independent citizens redistricting commission for San Luis Obispo County, all the way to successful signing into law by the governor in September. Beginning in the 2030-31 redistricting cycle, a citizens commission and not elected officials will draw the lines for supervisorial districts in the county. This group also initiated contact with the Diversity Coalition to participate in their strategic planning for the 2030 census. Each year, the League of Women Voters asks the local leagues to interview their state legislators. Taking the lead from Social Policy Team, we teamed up with members from the leagues in Monterrey and Santa Cruz to interview State Senator John Laird and State Assembly members Don Addis and Greg Hart. The League of Women Voters of California provided 2 questions regarding major issues for California and the legislators' personal legislative priorities. The interview teams then developed locally focused questions on issues such as battery storage, safety, wind energy, sea rise, immigration enforcement, and access to health care in our counties. The interviews were conducted via Zoom. In a recent retreat, League leaders heard the first recommendations from its newly established DEI committee. After receiving approval from the group, the committee soon established and began implementing a strategic plan. This strategic plan was aimed at increasing inclusivity and to earn the trust, confidence, and respect of partners and those we serve. In order to promote inclusion, training was initiated to ensure shared vocabulary and alignment of goals. Relationships were fostered between the League and the SLO Diversity Coalition, the NAACP of SLO County, the SLO County Undocumented Support Coalition Partners, and the City of SLO Office of DEI. The group also was instrumental in creating an enhanced membership questionnaire to assess inclusion and diversity. Finally, a published acknowledgement of Indigenous people of SLO County was crafted for regular use at our meetings and activities. The Natural Resources Committee, under the direction of Neil Havlick, actively tracks major environmental issues countywide. They did so this past year by monitoring specific projects, attending agency meetings, meeting with industry and government representatives, and reviewing EIRs and staff reports. We are keeping tabs on a number of projects such as the Chumash Marine Sanctuary, the Dana Reserve Project, the proposed Morro Bay Wind Energy Project, the extension of Diablo Canyon, and the proposed Morro Bay Battery Plant. Anchoring the work of all the committees is the Communications Committee, led by Janice Langley. They have a task that keeps them busy throughout the year, whether there is an election or not. Our website that they constantly monitor and update provides a quality introduction to the public and is a great place to find information about upcoming events, action alerts, and league news, as well as general league and committee information. The committee is also instrumental in the planning and production of our webinars, such as our popular Lunch with the League. The committee would like to remind you that recordings of our webinars can be found on the League YouTube channel that they also supervise. You'll find a link to it on our homepage. They have been keeping our members and the public informed of League news and activities by monthly publication of The Voter. As always, this electronic newsletter makes connections with other community events of interest to our members as well. After getting us through the times of COVID, the Communications Committee continues to master Zoom to keep our slew of virtual meetings running smoothly. Most importantly, the group has been instrumental in connecting members to the committees that will best match their talents. The Communications Committee also set up and tracked those who registered for all the year's events like today's. Frankly, without the Communications Committee, the rest of the committees could not function as effectively as they do. Our membership committee continued keeping track of membership, welcoming new members, helping plan social events, and working in a variety of ways to keep members involved and to make them feel appreciated for their services. A marquee event for this committee every year is the new member orientation. This 2-hour virtual event was divided into 2 segments. In the first segment, new members introduce themselves and share their backgrounds and reasons for joining the league. In the second segment, the chairs of our committees introduce themselves and explain what the respective committees did. They further explain what is expected of committee members, including what type of time commitment is to be involved. More orientations are in the planning this year with the possibility of a live gathering. Every month we look forward to coming together for some casual fellowship with Nancy Welts for our cocktail/coffee hour. Whether in the afternoon or the morning, it was a time to get to know each other a bit better in a time without any agenda or intensity. Making it a priority to give credit to outstanding service, we continued our recognition program, the Member Spotlight. In our latest nod, we honored our new chapter secretary, Joanne Schultz, who also in the past 12 months took on the job of being a poll inspector, organized candidate interviews, worked on our high school registration units, and was a vital member of our candidate forum team. You can understand why she was a deserving candidate. The Discourse Committee and the Voter Services Committee began the process of bringing our Speakers Bureau back to life. We'll be recruiting members who are willing and able to help us realize one of our most important priorities, providing credible civics education to the community. These speakers will be provided to nonprofit organizations throughout the county. Stay tuned for development in this project. On March 4th of this year, board members Ann Havlick, Kim Gravel, and Ed Cabrera attended a meeting of the San Luis Obispo City Council, where they were presented with a proclamation marking Women's History Month. The proclamation from Mayor Erica Stewart and the San Luis Obispo City Council noted that the local women have played and continue to play critical economic, cultural, and social roles in every sphere of life in our community. We are honored to accept this proclamation in behalf of the League. Last month, the League of Women Voters joined a coalition of national and local organizations to protest what League CEO Selena Stewart has called an unprecedented, breathtaking assault on America, democracy by the Trump administration. The resulting peaceful local demonstration on the downtown courthouse steps was yet another reminder that democracy is not a spectator sport, and that we must come together and make our collective power as Americans felt. In keeping with League of Women Voters National's initiative, Unite and Rise 8.5, which seeks to engage and mobilize 8.5 million voters between now and November 2026 to protect and preserve our democratic institutions, we are looking for volunteers to help with 2 final events this year. On May 31st, we shall be in downtown San Luis Obispo to help celebrate Pride in the Plaza, and we will return on June 14th to commemorate Juneteenth. We shall have tables at both events. We hope that you will choose to contact Julie Rodewald to thank her for her years of service and tell her that you wish to join her and other volunteers for these 2 opportunities to connect with the community and to add to that grand total of new voters. Voter registration and engagement of these events will be a priority. Both of the events give our League members the opportunity to educate the community about the important work that we do locally as well as statewide and nationally. We cannot accomplish our goals without the constant support that we receive from our members. We look forward to an even busier future. We thank you for being a member of the League. We shall finish with the words of Brendan Slocum from his novel The Violin Conspiracy. Alone, we are a solitary violin, a lonely flute, a trumpet singing in the dark. Together, we are a symphony. If you wish to join our stellar group of volunteers, please contact us at our phone number, through our website, or via our email. We have final words of thank you for two very important people. These VIPs served not only as co-presidents, but also as models of professionalism, mentors, our ongoing support system, and most importantly, as dear friends. Thank you, Ann Havlick and Elizabeth Manock, for serving as our co-presidents these last 2 years. Thank you for joining us today. We hope to see you in the future as we continue with our mission to defend democracy. Adios.